be recording on YouTube as well, if anybody wanted to catch it on the YouTube side. And then, so if you know you're going to be sharing your book and excerpts from your book today, you can go ahead and send me that link to the back channel. That way I'll have it ready to share with the audience. But good morning, everyone. Today is January 8th, 2022. This is the first broadcast for the year for ParTeas By Bev. I am Beverly Campbell for everyone in the audience, and also our replay viewers and listeners. I'm so fascinated around words. I created this space, ParTeas By Bev, for like-minded people to share words they created to inspire, make people think, laugh, and enjoy life. Adjust your fascinators. But today, the clubhouse side can't see. I actually have on a cap today and not a fascinator. But I am an activist, author, and catalyst for resisting, rescue, and resting. I actually have a guide out called Resist, Rescue, Rest, life support for the soul, and that's to help you with guilt-free rejuvenation. The link to the guide I created will be posted, and it is currently posted here on the clubhouse side. It's also in the chat on the YouTube live. And then I'm also the owner of Ebony Royal Apparel. If any of you ladies want to come up on the clubhouse side, you most certainly can do that. And I have about 7 ways that you can resist. And so when we mostly think of resisting, it's not necessarily storming the Capitol or anything like that. When it comes to ourself, 9 times out of 10, you have to resist the urge to put yourself last on the list. A lot of us are like high achieving people, high achieving women. And even with that, and doing all that we do to nurture and care for everyone else, we do put ourselves last on the list. And sometimes it's almost expected for us to do that. So one of the ways that you can resist is just actually resist the urge to put yourself last on the list. One of the things that I do, because I had 5 children very early in life, and so I found out that I was very exhausted because I really wasn't having time for myself. So I would literally get up, and I'm still used to doing it now, and I don't have to, but I basically do it because it's my timing, and I actually I'm an early riser as it is, but how I really started getting up early in the morning was because so that I could have time for myself and before dealing with my children. And I would put them to bed early as 8 o'clock, when they were younger. And then as they got older, they pretty much fell into their own kind of like time thing, not far from that time, even when they were teenagers. And so I also would put them to bed early so that I could at least have some time for myself before having to get right back up in the morning and start it all over exhausted. And so now I'm kind of stuck in getting up early. But for people who have a lot on their plate, like I'm with myself now. I actually moved out of state, so I'm not near my grandchildren and children like I would love to be. But when I was, I would help them out or whatever, but it's not like I have to do that. So right now, I'm actually with myself, And so I could do whatever, but I still, do that but for people who find it hard, even like you, the way you sacrifice for everybody else, you have to make that sacrifice for yourself. Even if it means, getting up at 5 just so you could have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever it is to find time for yourself. So you can honor yourself by resisting, just putting yourself last on the list. And another way, let's see, I'm going to go down the list. And then, like I said, resisting isn't always about a picket sign or storming government offices. It's about basically holding the sign up for yourself. And I'm sorry, my clubhouse side. I just took a sip of coffee. But then also, you can also resist the urge to come up with excuses of why you are not worthy or ready. Like we're already in 2022. And for some of us, we left some of us in 2021. And so today is a new day. You have an opportunity to throw away the excuses, remind yourself that you're worthy and you're ready, and whatever it takes for you to be ready, do that, whether it's reaching out to men or women in your circle or asking for help. Let me see. There was a I guess it's a meme someone posted, but it was actually words written by someone. So I guess it's a quote, a meme. And it was saying basically that you laughed with someone, but then like you hid yourself and cried alone. And they were saying if we can laugh together, like give them the opportunity to also cry with you. And it works the same way when we need help, whether it's with a project or just, overcoming self-doubt or, self-defeating thoughts. It works the same way. Sometimes it takes just even voicing what you're feeling and going through so that you can, resist the urge to not throw away, the excuses, because you are worthy and you are ready in 2020. Just give yourself the opportunity to spring forth and triumph in whatever it is that you're doing. So then also we have resist. Resist whatever it is that will come to choke the life out of you. And so that seems harsh, but anybody that's ever been in a place where you felt like you couldn't breathe, and so that's a real place. And so we have to, just be honest about whatever it is, whether it's a person, a situation, thoughts, whatever it is. You would have to resist the urge to agree with whatever it is that's coming to take the life out of you. Surround yourself with people, places, and things that bring you joy, laughter, and just really makes your life better. So I pray you all are breathing freely today. Resist the urge to not ask for help. And even being a giver as I am, asking for help was one of the big things. I would never ask for help. I would give someone the shirt off my back, but I definitely would not ever ask for help. I had to dig deep. It's like, why wouldn't you want to ask for help? And just after digging deep and doing some work, just I never wanted anyone to throw up in my face, things that they did for me. So as much as a giver as I was, I never wanted to ask anybody for anything because I didn't want anyone to say that, hey, you know, they helped me. Like, what's the big deal with receiving help? You give help, you should receive help. That's reciprocity, and that's the way it should be. In our lives, we shouldn't have fear of asking for help because we are stronger together. And I'm not exactly sure if any of you are activists, but many activists, as you know, I did a lot of work in activism as well. At the root of most activists against oppression and injustice is a desire to see equity manifested in the world. So the most revolutionary act you can do is to advocate for yourself. It really, make no sense to be running around advocating for others and then not be able to just speak up and advocate for yourself. It just makes no sense, and it wears you down. Um, and in some cases, it would even cause resentment for people actually taking things. I wouldn't even use the word take, but receiving what you were willing to give. And then they didn't do anything wrong. But if you were giving out of a place that wasn't pure or for other reasons, you could still be, exhausted. So Che Guevara has a quote that says, "The true revolutionary is guided by great feelings of love." And so if you can love the world, if you can love your neighbor, if you can love others, for the most part, we all want to have that love for ourselves, and so let me see, I want to pull up. I need to look at my phone, but I think it'll bring me out of the clubhouse. I'm not, I'm not sure, but, and there's also a book by Dr. Tamar Bryant called Thriving in the Wake of Trauma, a multicultural guide. There's an affirmation that says, "I choose self-care over self-harm." And sometimes we say, "Oh, I'm not doing anything," but anytime you don't put yourself first, it's you, you could be kind of close to going to harming yourself. So I want to pull up this quote. And if anytime you ladies want to come up, you can do that. But this is an excerpt from Resist, Rescue, Rest, Life Support for the Soul. The ebook, it is available at the link on Clubhouse. I believe I've also added it on the YouTube side. That's ebonyroyalapparel.bigcartel.com. But it says, "It may be that you have to deny yourself the activity of self-doubt. You may have to resist the urge to second guess your every decision. You may have to resist the fear of taking the first step. You may have to resist the voices of well-meaning and sometimes not voices who tell you it's not a good idea or it's not a good time." And so people are well-meaning sometimes and sometimes they're not. But the main thing of it is you have to resist the voices, even if it's your own, that's telling you you can't, and that's telling you it's not time. Did either of you ladies want to come up or have anything to add or questions? Also, I do have an exercise.
Good morning, Beverly. I just popped in to say good afternoon to everybody, and I just wanted to say, as females, we're nurturers. We always have to make sure that everything is okay before we can actually do things for ourselves, you know? And I like that you put something together to help people realize that we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of everybody else. And that's definitely a good thing. And thank you for doing that.
Yes, because a lot of times we don't, and we have to just throw this out the window that you're the bad guy when you want to do something for yourself. I remember a time I saved up for a cruise. It's so many things I wanted to do when my kids were growing up, and I would back out because someone had a recital or somebody, the football team was going out of town. And so instead of me going and doing whatever it is, I would take my deposit off of the cruise or whatever it was. And so I just basically went on a cruise. What, this was some years ago. And everyone was looking crazy. Like, everyone, not everyone, but my kids, and they had little stuff going on that obviously I could have assisted them with it. But no, I took that money and went right on my cruise. And it's like, we'll feel bad for not doing things for ourselves, because you can do things. I could have chosen to give that to my kids to help them with rent or do something for my grandkids, but I chose to do something for myself. It's like, and sometimes you'll take on other people's feelings for yourself for doing something for yourself, and you feel bad about it. And Miss Tasha, I know that you do have your a new book out now. Would you like to let the listeners know about it? Introduce yourself and let the listeners know about it and where they can find it.
Well, I had to push the date back because the book is actually not ready, but Lord's will, it'll probably be out by spring. I don't know. I Y'all gonna have to keep me in your prayers because this has been long, long. Well, this is like the most taxing experience I've ever had in my writing career. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, that's amazing. I know.
I'm just ready to just like take my computer, throw it out, and just say I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, we know you're not gonna throw it out. You do already have things out already, though, correct? Can you share the link and information for that?
So my last book, it had to be you. That came out, I believe, in 2019, early 2020. Um, that's on. You can find that on Amazon. Um, I don't. I don't know whether or not it's on Barnes and Nobles. I have to check. Last time I checked, it was, but I don't know. This book was inspired by a report I saw on 60 Minutes about how immigrants come to the country, different ways that they come. And they highlighted about this little boy. He had lost both his parents. And there was this, he knew there were planes going in and out, going back and forth to America. So he stowed away in the wheel well. And I found that fascinating that he survived, going all up in that altitude with the cold and everything. Like he should have been frozen solid, but he wasn't. And they said, in the research that I did, that people do survive, you know. the journey over. And I was like, you know what? That'll make a good story. So I had my character stow away on a barge, on a one of those barges, with all of the containers on it. She managed to get in between one of them and hide out. And it was headed to California. And I talk about how she survived on the streets and whatnot, because she figured she didn't have any family. She didn't really want to be with anybody that she didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And she did kind of get hemmed up with the game, but she managed to get past that. And then she found out later on that she did have a family. Her grandfather, her father's father, had been looking for her for a long time. And when he did finally find her, he sent the hero to look for her, and she wasn't like, I don't want anything to do with the man, because he should have looked for me, when I was born. He should have acknowledged me, but he didn't. And all of that is explained in the story. But I enjoyed writing that because, like I tell people, research is my favorite thing to do. I love to learn new things. Any new thing that I can learn, I'm happy about it. I'm excited, to share the details. But that was a fun book. The one that's coming up, A Question of Marriage, that's the old, the popular trope. Everybody is doing the fake marriage and the fake relationships and whatnot. That's just a fun book to do, but oh man, it's a long journey trying to get that finished. But I digress.
Yes. And so we know with everything that you shared with us that you're going to have to resist the urge to give up, because it's going to be completed. You've already done so much other work, and so we know that you're going to be able to finish what you're doing now. And so I have an exercise that you ladies can do, or any of the replay listeners and viewers, once you come back. Let's see. If you need to scoot your chair or pull yourself back from the table, you don't necessarily have to walk outside, but just envision this space as a rally. You would write down what you will lead this rally, being the drum major for yourself. You're going to take a piece of paper or a poster board and write something for you, whatever it is for you. And maybe, Miss Tasha, it can be completing my book, or the title of your book, or whatever it is on that piece of paper or poster board. We're doing a picket sign. We're doing a rally for you today. So you would just imagine yourself being the drum leader with all of us behind you. And you're holding, you're holding that sign up. We're cheering and clapping behind you. So you'll just have to decide what will you write on your sign. Remember, you are resisting for you today, and you are an activist for yourself. And so my sign says, I am a soft place to land, but not a garbage can. And sometimes you'll have to let people know that and remind people of that just at different times. Because when you're the type of person that holds space for people, sometimes it can turn into a dumpster instead of just, being a listening ear. Sometimes you just have to decide, how you want to show up for people, but set boundaries as well. And so that's a part of self-care, setting boundaries. Because sometimes you have to determine, okay, does someone want help? You know, sometimes you have to ask questions before you even allow people to share certain things with you. That way, you can prevent yourself from being a garbage can as well. But I hope the things that I've shared today have assisted somebody in some way. And you could also get a Resist, Rescue, Rest life support for the soul at the link above. I believe I've also shared it on the YouTube side. And so, if no one have any questions, I'll be ending the room. And then, if any of you ladies also have any books that you would just like to come on and discuss, let me know, and I could schedule you to come on the next. I'm basically doing these only every month, but if people have been asking, and so I could do them a little bit more frequently, but I plan to only do them every month, not to overwhelm myself with everything else that I have going on. But I certainly wouldn't have a problem coming on discussing any books and anything that you ladies would like to discuss around topics of your books. And so thank you so much. And I am Beverly Campbell. You're listening to ParTeas by Bev. Thank you for joining, and see you next time.